All right, so this is take three. I answer Quora question: can a liberal be a Republican? Technically, yes, a self professed liberal can be a Republican, though I wouldn't know why they would choose to vote that way. Is there a difference? Generally speaking, more often than not, there are significant differences, especially as the Republican Party moves further and further in a neo fascist and theocratic direction. In fact, one of my main considerations now among Republicans is still whether or not they are loyal to Trump. To be fair, they are moving somewhat away from that, but the remaining culture war talking points are equally as vapid. So, is there ever any crossover between liberals and Republicans? I suppose so, especially if one looks at it tangentially. For example, liberals, leftists, and Republicans can all speak against what they view as powerful elites. Trump even promised he would disempower Goldman Sachs, though predictably, Goldman Sachs President Gary Cohn wound up as the chief economic advisor and swamp monster to President Donald Trump. When in fake populist mode, conservatives will often lament the rich Hollywood elite and snobby college educated liberals, with the implication that snobby, well off liberals are holding this country back and instituting a moral decline. In addition to more blatantly white nationalist talking points, such as arguing that Democrats are bringing in illegals to replace white people. That is basically a white nationalist talking point. It's been normalized in recent years, but not too long ago it was considered something just for extremist web pages. Then the question emerges, are all liberals rich, well connected snobs? Are you basically a liberal if you have a lot of rich people in your circle of pals? Well, of course not. As someone considered on the left, I would be labeled a liberal by right wingers, but I don't personally hang out with anyone on the Forbes list of the world's billionaires or anyone like that. I am an entertainment writer with a 4 year liberal arts degree, but definitely have a working class background, and I even have a regular day job. So, another aspect would be looking at the social issues and seeing the differences between Republicans and liberals. The debate over gay marriage, sex, and abortion is another reason I do not vote Republican. Who someone else wants to marry is none of my business, so long as it's between consenting adult human beings. And yes, I realize there is still debate over what actually constitutes consent and at what age one truly and scientifically can be considered an adult. But Republicans too often now have these issues coupled with another more phony and horrible premise that all liberals and teachers and librarians are groomers and pedophiles. I do understand that it's really borrowing a page from Vladimir Putin's playbook over in Russia. That's how he helped create that country into even more of a right wing hellscape. It's just a disgustingly dishonest way to frame things, and of course, none of these Republicans will ever look at all the pedophiles and religious families and institutions in the same way they look at public school teachers, because of course, conservatives have to be hypocrites and liars. But the point of these right wing fear mongering talking points is not to create a more poignant debate, it's to distract, demonize, divide, and conquer. Also, it's ironic we ever needed to create a right to same sex marriage anyway, because it's actually a violation of ostensibly conservative principles to have the government tell consenting adults they cannot get married. After all, what if I was in government and from a dominant culture and decided, hey, I don't think such and such people should be able to get married? Why would I have that special right to make that determination? In what way would that be small government? It wouldn't be, and isn't when antisocial conservatives do it right now. Yes. Now, here's where it actually does get tricky because there is a little bit of a crossover here. In 2016, voters were tasked with the question, should I vote for Hillary Clinton or be Republican? So why is that tricky? Well, go ahead and look at the issue I just mentioned. Before 2016, Hillary Clinton was against same-sex marriage. In fact, so was even Barack Obama. However, they switched their views around right about the time the conservative leaning Supreme Court effectively legalized same sex marriage. So, oddly enough, for anyone who is actually paying attention, voting for Hillary Clinton definitely would have had a light Republican aftertaste at least, based on all the times the Democratic Party basically shared the same cultural and political values as Republicans. So the answers are different for everyone, though. Some people would, in my view, laughably look at what I said about Hillary Clinton just now and pretty much spit venom at me in that stereotypical, how dare you criticize Hillary Clinton type of argument some of them love so well. Other, more honest people would tell me, yeah, Hillary was bad, but she was better than Trump in this way and in that way. So the point is, there are definite times where Democratic politicians have had policy crossover with Republicans, and that is still even true today. So that is a complicating factor when it comes to answering questions like this. Still, the Republicans are shifting so far to the right that, frankly, it's getting harder to distinguish between them and outright Nazis. When it comes down to it, I'm a libertarian in that I basically embrace a live and let live philosophy. My family is split between Democrats, Republicans, Independents, and non voters. I can usually find meaningful common ground with them on some issues, but there is still family and others I have distanced myself from, as a few of them have gone too deep into the Trumpist slash QAnon rabbit hole. I will not vote for Republicans when the candidate is fascistic on social and economic issues, and a lot of them are. So, obviously, there are usually big differences between liberals and Republicans, and I just made a few of them pretty clear.